Warning, this video contains content that appears to be dark and manipulative. Viewers' discretion is advised. Now, this video is not dark and manipulative. It just appears to be dark and manipulative because of the content of what we're going to be talking about today. Unfortunately, too many people experience your absence as a gift and your presence as painful. We want to reverse this dynamic. And why does that dynamic end up happening? Well, because you are a people pleaser. You don't allow your partners to feel pain. You think that if you allow your partners to be away from you for too long, that they're gonna forget you and find somebody else. And the reason why is because you're a people pleaser. You're not willing to walk away. You have too much anxiety. You don't know how to be alone. So because of that, you give people the gift of your absence, and unfortunately, the pain of your presence. And what tends to happen is that you tend to lose people, not because you're not there too much, but because you're there too much. Your presence is too suffocating. You lose them because of indigestion. So it's essential for you to see the natural role that absence and presence has when it comes to creating love and attraction. If you notice the people who you got turned off, that you had to push away, they never did this. Why? Because they were too insecure to give you space. And when they were around you, the intense insecurity that came from your absence causes them to cling on to you really tight, like a drowning man trying to be rescued. You tend to drown people who are trying to help you. And that habit is unconscious. You're not aware that you're doing that because you just feel pain. But as soon as you give people the pain of your absence, these amazing things begin to happen. We're gonna cover what happens when you give people the pain of your absence, depending on the different attachment styles, because this strategy that I'm teaching you reveals something that you guys will find extremely useful when it comes to selecting the people who you're going to be in a relationship with. This is why it's so important that you apply this. You get what I mean? And if you don't know how to apply it, well, Father Alex can coach you one-on-one. You guys can book a one-on-one phone call with me today, and there I could guide you and show you how to give people the pain of your absence and the pleasure of your presence, right? A lot of the times we don't know that we're doing something wrong, and sometimes you just need somebody else like Father Alex to tell you exactly what you're doing right or wrong without lying to you. Well, that's why I have these types of services. You guys can book 15, 30, 45 and 1 hour sessions with me today, and there you'll be able to have a phone call with me, not an assistant like some other coaches do it, not an AI especially, but with me. Okay, click on that description down below and let's see how I can help you today. Let's continue with the video. In your absence, these things begin to happen. They start to fall in love. In your absence is when your mind starts to crystallize you in their mind. It's like leaving a piece of wood in a cave. That thing over time, you leave it there, a crystal will become to crystallize around that wood. You are that piece of wood that is really nothing, and you're in their imagination is the crystal. It gives it more meaning. It creates an alchemy. And that only happens in your absence. People cannot form the I'm in love with you image in their mind through your presence. They just cannot. This mechanism happens because the pleasure that they had being with you, they long it like a crackhead wanting crack, and so they start to imagine being with you. And this imagination comes from a place of hunger, a place of desire to see you. And what tends to happen, it exaggerates how much you want it. Similar to shopping when you're hungry, they tell you not to do it. Don't imagine people and being with them when you're unhappy and depressed, because you're going to end up creating a larger image than they really are, which is going to superimpose when you start to see them, and you're going to start to fall in love without even having control over that process. Right? That's why the best people that actually react to this the most are people that are kind of unhappy, and I don't recommend you doing that because then it gets toxic. Now, the next thing that happens is that they gain respect for you. In your absence is when people gain respect, never in your presence. Why? Because they have no control over you. They don't know if you're actually going to come back, especially people who have a fear of abandonment. And unfortunately, that's most guys. That's most women. Most people have this fear of abandonment, right? And so the absence creates that respect because they know that you could inflict pain, because your mere absence creates anxiety. And what tends to also happen is that they want to see you more in your absence. It creates a longing. And now I never recommend you create prolonged absence, because just like a child, if you are away from your child too long, they'll develop emotional attachment issues. They'll develop anxiety. They might become aggressive. Their grades will lower, right? But you want to do some temporary absence, which is what? Normal shit about life. You gotta go to work. You're too tired today. You don't want to hang out today. You know, you've done too much this week and you want some alone time. These are the things that we tend to never do when we feel anxious about seeing people. The anxiety will cause you to never create these natural absences. Remove anxiety through developing a meditation practice, which I tell people to purchase my course, Emotional Mastery, to learn how to do that straight from me, or go to a meditation retreat called Vipassana, DHAMMA.org. There you guys can book a free meditation retreat, and it'll help with your anxiety, right? It creates such an anxiety that you want to see them. You start to fantasize about them. But to me, my favorite thing that your absence does is that it communicates your standards. Okay, the pain of your absence and presence is a way to silently communicate your standards. You fucked up. Look, I already told you once. I'm gonna be absent. I'm busy. You know, I all of a sudden I hurt my ankle playing basketball. Like you know what I'm saying? Like when you have standards, you don't repeat your standards. You don't tell people. You tell people your standards once, and if they break it, then you create absence, right? So it's really the most powerful way to show people that you have standards and to gain people's respect. And people who have high anxiety never, ever do this, all right? Now, what does the gift of your presence do to someone? Well, your presence creates a connection. It creates the bond. It creates a desire to see you, the material for love. It creates the ingredients. It's not the heat. It's actually the ingredients. You use the heat, which is absence, to cook that shit with, right? And just like a fire, once you have that fire, you need space to allow that fire to continue, right? So that's the beauty about the presence, is that it creates that raw material, right? And that's why in the beginning, like when you meet people, you got to spend time with them. You can't just be too absent. You want to see them more often than not see them, right? Because once you return from your absence, your presence they realize how much they miss you once you return. So your absence gives an extra significance to your presence. What does it do? It creates a larger than life type of energy. The sadness that I felt in your absence becomes converted into its opposite, which is pleasure, on top of me liking you. That's what creates the larger than life, I love you, she's amazing, he's amazing type of BS mindset, right? And it causes them to miss you, and once you miss them and they're there, their presence will cause them to release oxytocin. They hug you, and all of a sudden they feel warm on the inside, and the love creates even a stronger glue in your heart, right? And the next thing is that your presence is used to reward people once you're done with your absence. You reward people for acting right. Your presence, without anything else, has an intrinsic value. And that value is that it comes with all of this, but the only reason why it has value, it's because it comes after or before absence. It needs to be part of the same coin. The people cannot enjoy your presence without suffering in your absence. It's just how that works, right? Now, but not too much suffering, right? Because then it becomes toxic. Now, you got to be careful with this, right? Because the absence part does reveal something you need to know about the person, right? Inflicting pain on people with rejection and abandonment wounds a lot of the times comes with strong reactions, so you could tell who's traumatized, unfortunately, through this strategy. The pain of your absence reveals a person's true nature. Once you're absent, some people may start to get manipulative. Once you're absent, some people may actually just be chilled and they're confident enough that you're gonna return, right? It really does depend on their attachment style, and that's the beauty. We want to date people who have a secure attachment style, plain and simple. Just how that is. You don't want to date people who have insecure attachment style. It comes with problems. Make your life easy, please. Declutter the room, right? So how do you do this? Well, absence and presence reveals this. How? Through their reactions, right? So an anxious attachment style person, initially relived by absence. Avoidance suppresses distress, right? And maintains emotional distance upon return, feeling internal relief. With an avoidance style, they appear self-reliant on the outside, emotionally distant. When their partners are absent, they might feel initially relieved as they value independence and personal space. However, this can mask underlying distress, right? As they have learned to suppress their emotional needs. The absence might not visibly affect them, right? So you might think, oh my God, they're so cold, the strategies are not working, but internally, they may feel stress due to unmet emotional needs, right? Now, the anxious attachment, they become distressed and seek reassurance in your absence. So these are the ones that these strategies work on. They feel relief but have lingering anxiety upon return. So it's not easy. Once you're there, they still want to cling on a little bit longer. To the avoidant, they want distance, right? They feel relieved, but even though when you're there, they appear distant, but deep down, they're actually happy that you're there. Now, the disorganized attachment experience confusion and intense emotions during absence. Right? They feel they don't know how to feel. They're like, oh my God, what's going on? Did I do something wrong? With mixed relief and fear upon return, leading to unpredictable behavior. These are the people that when you apply these strategies, they act in ways that are unpredictable. Which, in other words, they might find relief and desire closeness, but also experience confusion or fear due to past traumas. This can lead to unpredictable behavior as they struggle to reconcile for the need for connection with their fear of vulnerability. Let me give you an example, right? I remember I did a visualization of me being a baby, honestly, right? And I remember my mom picked me up and I was crying, right? And then my mom picked me up. And when she picked me up, she felt stiff. She felt really stiff. And the stiffness made me feel insecure because I'm like, this is not soft. I like soft bodies. Why is this bed stiff? Like, she picked me up and I was like, please put me down. And while I was crying, I heard grunts. This, like, it was almost like the frustrating sound when you're angry or like, come on, this motherfucker, shut up and go to sleep, right? So she put me down. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, please put me down, because the stiffness and the angry sounds coming from your chest, I feel anxious. Put me down. She put me down in my visualization. And when she put me down, I still felt a desire to get picked up. But when she tried to pick me up, I said, please don't pick me up, because you're the one that makes that weird sound. That's kind of like the origins of this type of attachment style. These kids are unpredictable, and these types of people tend to be really attractive to people because of their unpredictable behavior. And if you apply absence and they start to act unpredictable, you don't want to be with them, man. You want someone who's consistent. Why? Because people who have secure attachment styles handle absence with resilience, right? Trusting in relationship stability, and they welcome you with confidence. They don't welcome you with games. They don't welcome you feeling super attached and shit. They leave the space. They give you space. And once you're there, they like you. But they also have boundaries. They're not stupid, right? They're just secure in themselves, right? So how do you apply this, right? Once you notice, how do you apply this? I always tell people, just allow the natural part of life to just happen. Sometimes you're busy and you don't want to see them. Do it. Sometimes you don't want to go all the way and see them because maybe they're like an hour away. Do it. Don't do it. You know, sometimes you want space, but maybe you just don't like telling people those boundaries and that you want space. Do it, right? Go towards what you are uncomfortable. Allow yourself to be alone sometimes. Sometimes you've seen them too many times and you want distance. Sometimes you are an avoiding attachment style, but sometimes you don't want to tell them you want some distance. Do it. People are forgiving. Sometimes you're too tired to go out. You want to go with your friends and not them. Do it. Sometimes you want to go on vacation with your friends and not invite them, you know, but they trust you. As long as they trust you, do it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they disrespect you and cross your boundaries, and you need to give them space. Do it. Just make sure that when you come back, you don't have any resentment. Just make sure that when you don't come back, you don't hold on to the anger that caused you to create some distance. Maybe they disrespected you or touched you the wrong way, smacked you, called you a name that you don't like. Create the space. Speak for you. Allow your absence speak for your worth. Do that, right? Because your absence will be killing them inside. People sometimes need to see you walk away to truly realize that your presence is majestic, that your presence is valuable. But when you don't let them do that, what happens is that people will say, okay, this person doesn't really deserve my respect. Now, I don't want you guys to do this just for the sake of pulling away, because then people will sense when you're being manipulative. You get what I mean? Like, this is not a manipulation strategy. What I'm trying to tell you is that allow life create your absence and presence. Allow life. Things come up. Trust me. You don't have to create these scenarios. Everyone fucks up in life. I fuck up in life to the point where you're gonna have to create some space with me. And that space is gonna make me, as long as, if you creating space without telling me, that means you already told me once, right? Because the space is a second alternative, right? Once you tell me your boundaries, if I cross it again, then you create space, right? That tells me you're serious. It tells me that you're serious. Hopefully you don't have to create space as punishment, but sometimes you do, and it's literally the best way. Why? Because we rather react to silence than words. Silence to us says shit is serious. Anyways, listen, people, if you guys enjoy this and you guys want to work with Father Alex one-on-one, click in the description down below. I have courses such as natural chemistry. If you want to build a strong relationships, nice guy, nice girl, it's a course that I made for women and men also. on how to develop assertiveness. Natural chemistry is a course that will teach you guys how to apply these strategies, how to think like a man and how to act like a woman, right? It's pretty much the self-help course of my channel, right? It'll teach you guys how to set and achieve goals, how to manifest, the manifestation technique that I use. I'll teach you guys all in that course, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's right. And all of my courses have a 30-day money back guarantee. Or you can purchase all of my courses in a bundle by clicking in the description down below. It's called the Mindful Attraction University, right? And all of my courses are $99, right? Now, for somebody who's in a relationship and you want to apply more of these strategies, I recommend Natural Chemistry. It's a course for women who are in relationships, all right? So click on the description down below, 30-day money back guarantee. You can have it for a lifetime, and I'll see you guys inside.